What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into Weird Al Yankovic's studio catalog. Doing this as a dedication is my tribute to Dr. Demento, who recently announced that he was retiring, a radio personality back in the 70s and 80s in Los Angeles. And I think he was syndicated, that played novelty music. He discovered Weird Al, played Weird Al a lot in the early days, and I think Weird Al has credited Dr. Demento with his success. So, or at least helping him get his foot in the door to success. Not familiar with the studio album, so I have heard all the hits. And we're in a bad place here. This is album number 9, and album number 8, giving away that video, Alapalooza, was my least favorite of them so far. It was 8 out of 8. I just thought it was by far the least inspired of them all. Maybe a laugh or two here, but for the most part, it was like, is the guy running out of ideas? It wasn't looking good. But he got the rebound. He missed the shot on Alapalooza, but he definitely got the rebound. Question is, what did he do with the rebound? And it turns out it looks like he shot a 3, got scored on the 3, but also got fouled. So then he had a rebound, but then he missed his rebound, got that, and made another 3. This Bad Hair Day, number 9, came out in 1996, is an excellent album. I knew going into it there were 2 songs I definitely liked. I am familiar with Amish Paradise, which leads off the album, which I think still works to this day. And I was familiar with Gump, which is a parody of the President of the United States of America's Lump, about Forrest Gump. Another absolutely just dead-on perfect parody. So I knew those 2 were good going into it, and then I was incredibly pleasantly surprised by how much I absolutely enjoyed everything else. There was a comment in one of the more recent videos of an album I didn't like. It might have been the one that I just did, Alapalooza, where somebody pointed out that, like, as we're getting into an era where maybe pop songs aren't as strong or as catchy, poppy as they were in the 80s, Weird Al essentially parodies popular pop songs, right? So if it's on the charts, there's a good chance Weird Al's going to do it. This is the 90s. This is the middle of the 90s. And apparently, I'm in absolutely love with this era of music because everything he does here, it just works. And some of it works as like a song. Like there's a couple on here, I'm like, that could just be a song. And I think it would work, whether it's a parody or not. Even though it does sound like somebody else's song, it's like, there's some good stuff on here. So Weird Al came back strong on album number 9. I'm applauding him. Opens up with Amish Paradise, which is a play on Coolio's Gangster Paradise, which is a play on Stevie Wonder's Pastime Paradise. Stevie doesn't get enough props for that. So we're like 3 degrees into this song right here, or 2 degrees. This is first, second, whatever. I don't know. The song is amazing. I think the absolutely amazing thing about this is just how bad Weird Al is at rapping. Like, he has no flow whatsoever. It might be purposeful in here because he's trying to be an Amish person, but there are other instances in which he kind of drops bars and you're like, this guy just, he can't. Or maybe it's all intentional and he's like brilliant, but he's got no flow. Doesn't matter. It absolutely works. There's a Pulp Fiction reference in here to even further date it in the mid-90s. Yeah, it just all works. The next song is Everything You Know Is Wrong, which is like a They Might Be Giants parody. Not a specific They Might Be Giants song, but a parody of a certain, just that They Might Be Giants sound. Musically, it absolutely works. He doesn't quite nail that sort of lyrical brilliance that makes, like, the absurdity of They Might Be Giants, I think, is the attraction. And Weird Al's trying too hard to be absurd. And when you try too hard, it kind of doesn't work. It's just this pop culture enhanced stream of conscious madness, essentially, is what it amounts to. But it kind of works because it sounds like They Might Be Giants. I don't think this is good enough to be on like a good They Might Be Giants album, but I still enjoy it. Cavity Search is next, which is about dental work. Okay, who cares? But it's two U2s, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me. And I don't know, but it just works. Absolutely works. I think there's an irony there in that going to the dentist and like having dental surgery and doing a U2 song, which many people would feel was like going to the dentist. A lot of people, YouTube's one of those bands that I don't think many people are in the middle of, right? They either love or they hate. Uh, but I don't know. This one works. The performance is fun. The irony of picking a U2 song about dentist work. It's a win from start to finish for me. Calling in Sick is sort of a Nirvana parody of just the band in general. A little bit of Lithium in there, a little bit of Smells Like in there. It verges on feel like this one feels like it could be a real song. Calling in Sick could be a real grunge song. The opening of Lithium, where it's like, I'm so happy. That's Lithium, right? The opening of this is Hit My Snooze Bar. And then he has a bunch of reasons why he's calling in sick. I don't know. I thought it was fun. I would recommend checking it out. The alternative polka opens up with the actual boom, 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 loser riff before we go into the sort of polka thing. This might be the best polka medley so far, mainly because of all the references that are in there, because really that's what it amounts to. But we get that loser riff, we get Loser, we get Stone Temple Pilots sex type thing, we get All I Want to Do Is Have Some Fun, we get Nine Inch Nails Closer, we get Bang and Blame by REM, which is pretty random. You Ought to Know. We get Bullet with Butterfly Wings by the Smashing Pumpkins. We get Red Hot Chili Peppers, My Friends. Not a big Chili Peppers fan. We get the Foo Fighters, I'll Stick Around. Not a big Foo Fighters fan. We get Black Hole Sun, which sounds amazing when it drops. And we get Basket Case. I enjoyed this one. I thought this one was fun. Not some of my most favorite songs, some of those like Foo Fighters, Chili Peppers, but I don't know. I thought it worked. And maybe it's because I'm not familiar with those songs that it worked a little better. But yeah, this might be the only polka medley I maybe want to go back and revisit at some point. I don't know. Then we get this a cappella thing called Since You've Been Gone, which is like all the pain that he's been through since she's been gone. Kind of catchy. The medley, it kind of sounds familiar, but I don't think it is. But anyways, not a bad song. Then we get Gump, which is amazing. If you've not even heard the President of the United States' Lump, you got to go check that out. Song out, just absolutely perfect. Izzy Inbred, amazing line to drop in here. It's essentially a description of the movie. It's just over 2 minutes. Absolutely perfect description of the movie. Perfect song, perfect choice. Yeah, almost like Lump was made just so Weird Al could parody it. I'm Sick of You, which kind of sounds like an early angry Elvis Costello thing. And it's just a list of complaints about why he's sick of them. Anytime, this is like the second time I think Al's done like a angry young white man, late 70s type genre, like a Nick Lowe, Joe Jackson, Costello, that Graham Parker, that kind of thing. He always nails the bass line because that's the thing that drives these songs. There's that like always there's a killer bassist in these like angry young white man, late 70s type things. And this song again nails the bass. Lyrically, again, it's just him, Weird Al being over the top silly, sometimes over the top violent, but with Weird Al, it never comes across as too graphic. Not a bad song. That great keyboard sound. Throws Kindergartners under the bus, which I bad on you. Kindergartners rock. But anyway, it's a pretty good song. We get Syndicated Ink, which is a cover of Soul Asylum's Misery, a band and a song I kind of completely forgot about. It's about watching syndicated TV. He drops a Three's Company, a MASH, a Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, All in the Family, a Regis and Kathy Lee. Yeah, it's not a bad little song. Kind of works. Song called I Remember Larry, which is like a quirky late 70s new wave Sparks type pop type number. Larry did a bunch of weird things. Kind of cool. A song called Phony Calls to TLC's Waterfalls. And it's interesting that he doesn't call it prank calls. It's essentially about prank phone calls. Prince Albert and your refrigerator running, all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't work. Don't go making prank calls. No, don't go making phony calls. Stick to the 7-digit numbers you're used to. Brilliant. There is no rap in the middle. Instead, he does like a little interchange of like a prank call as that. And then we close out with a song called The Night Santa Went Crazy, just nice twinkling kind of Christmassy pop. That, of course, gets very violent, and it's about the way Santa goes crazy. And it gets super, super violent, as you would expect in a Weird Al type thing. Interesting that he got away with this extreme violence for so long and nobody protested it. But that just shows the innocence of Weird Al, always. But yeah, I really think from start to finish, this is his best album, mainly because I like Lump, the Gump parody. I think that U2 song is pretty good, so that parody works. Amish Paradise, the original song is really good. Soul Asylum Misery, I don't ever listen to, but I think he does a good job with that. I just thought from start to finish, this was by far the most consistent listen, and the one I probably smiled the most. I probably was like, laughed, a bunch of laughs. So yeah, out of the 9 I've already done, this is easily number 1. I just, maybe not easily, UHF was pretty good, but I really didn't think there was anything too cringy. I thought it all kind of worked. I like I think there's a little more of the parody of a band versus the parody of a specific song, and I think that lets him flex a little more of his creativity, and I think it works, gives him a little more wiggle room, and it worked on here. That Nirvana calling in sick thing is pretty fun. But yeah, I like this album. So we're back. He got the rebound after the miss on the last one. He scored a whole bunch of points. So anyways, as you can do if you keep getting fouled and you miss the foul, get the rebound like that. Just a cycle of scoring. That's what he did. All right. Yeah, I've been watching some summer basketball leagues, so that's why. All right, that's it. That's all I got. 1 out of 9, the best so far. A bad hair day is apparently a good musical day for Weird Al. That's all I got. Let me know your thoughts on this album, on Weird Al, on these parodies, anything I messed up on, things I missed, all that kind of stuff. And that's all I got for Weird Al for now. Peace. Talk to you later.